What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is BroncoJuggalo.
And Bill.
And today we are doing 1983's Psycho 2. Continuing our Psycho franchise reviews. Now, I actually had a skit planned for this one, but I couldn't get the proper, let's just say, attire.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh well. We'll come back to that. We will have some skits soon, though. I promise. Now, this movie was directed by Richard Franklin, who was actually a student of Alfred Hitchcock. And just a little fun fact about that. He was so worried that his film wouldn't get Hitchcock's approval, even though Hitchcock had been dead already, that he invited Hitchcock's daughter to view this film when it was completed. And she gave him the blessing, saying that her father would have loved it.
Nice.
So that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Once again, starring Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates, Vera Miles as Lila Crane / Loomis. Yes, the character of Lila Crane married the lover of her dead sister. How fucked up is that?
Ha ha ha.
Meg Tilly plays Mary Loomis, her daughter, and also Norman Bates' love interest. And something interesting about that is that role was actually going to go to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, wow.
But then they cast Meg Tilly instead. They thought it'd be kind of cool to have Jamie Lee Curtis as Marion Crane's daughter, seeing as how her mother played Marion Crane. But I guess, I don't know if she actually turned it down or if they decided to go with somebody else. I heard that she was busy filming something else and she couldn't, but I don't know.
Who knows?
And it also stars Dennis Franz as Warren Toomey. Now, you might remember him from NYPD Blue.
Yeah.
2 decades later, after the original events of the first film, Norman Bates is deemed sane.
Wow.
And he gets released. But all of a sudden, weird shit happens, and it makes him start to wonder, has Mother come back?
His mother returned?
$5 million budget and brought in $35 million, which is decent, but honestly, not near as good as the original did. But
That's hard. That's hard to do.
A lot of people, including the filmmakers of the film later on, would go and say that they didn't like this movie and that they fucked up Norman Bates, and I don't agree with that at all.
No.
We'll get into that later, but I don't agree with that at all.
No, I think they did
This movie got a lot of negative press when it came out, but it is what it is. This film was actually made because the author of the book Psycho, Robert Bloch, came out with a book called Psycho 2, which satirized the slasher film.
Okay.
And they were afraid that they were going to make a movie of it. Somebody else would make a movie of Psycho 2 of the book, which would kind of really poke fun at the original classic. And they thought that would hurt the legacy of the classic film. So they decided to do this film instead, or before somebody else could put out that other film.
Well, it makes sense. Okay, you want to preserve your legacy? Well, makes sense. You want to do it first.
And at the time, this is the longest wait between a original film and a sequel to take place. And I mean that in real time, not just in the movie that it's 20 years later. But it literally was 23 years later that they did this film. And that was unheard of back then. Now, we've had a few things like that since.
Yeah.
Right now we've got all the rage to make direct sequels to movies that came out years ago.
Oh, yeah, I know. God.
Hey, most of them I've been pretty happy with, but hey, whatever.
Some of them I haven't seen, so I can't say.
And this little fact just really tickles my funny bone. Norman Bates was almost recast with Christopher Walken in the role.
Why?
Could you imagine Christopher Walken as Norman Bates?
No.
Well, I tell you, let me... No, I can't do Christopher Walken.
No.
I wish I could do Christopher Walken. I can hear it in here, but I can't do it.
Things that make your head hurt.
Yeah, Christopher Walken, Norman Bates, just no.
No. Now, I could see the guy that was Mr. Rogers. Hello, neighbor. That'd be creepy.
Yeah. But that actually would be creepy, yes.
That'd be creepy as fuck.
So, this is another film in this franchise I have no cons for. And, spoiler alert, I may actually like this movie more than the original. Is it technically a better film? No, probably not. But I enjoy this one more, I think. I really do.
Well, to each their own on that one. I don't enjoy this one more than the first one. I find the first one way more enjoyable. I do have one con for this film, and this is in the script here. It's like, why in the fuck, after you release Norman Bates after 20 years, would you take him right the fuck back
Where you went crazy?
everything went bad?
Yeah, I was a little curious about that myself. Why
Why?
did they do that to people? But you
Why?
remember Strangeland when they released Captain Howdy right back to his house,
Yeah.
and people's got spray painted shit all over, and he's just sitting there eating a TV dinner with all that shit like around him. It's like no wonder he goes nuts again.
But yeah, why? Why would you do this? It makes no sense. Oh, you're finally cured. Let's take you back to where Mother is.
Well, and like I said, the sad part is that shit probably happens in real life.
Probably does. Yeah, plot hole.
You know, it's funny too. My favorite scene in this movie is actually the same as it is in the first film. My favorite scenes in both of the films are the very last scenes in the movie.
Oh,
I
cool.
love that scene where he's standing at the top of the steps and the thunder and the clouds are rolling in behind him, and it's just that atmosphere, that mood. And that's something that I want to talk about in this.
Yeah.
This
Let's
film,
start with
even
that.
though it is in color, and it is 20 years later, and the
Yeah.
character of Norman has evolved some, they capture, in my opinion, the atmosphere and the spirit of the original film so well, and it's encapsulated in that final shot when he turns on the Bates Motel sign. And, you know, he's standing there at the top of the steps. Even though it's not in black and white, they did so, and maybe it's because the director is a student of Hitchcock. He knew how to do it.
Yeah.
But they just, it just feels the exact same to me. It's like, kind of like watching Halloween and Halloween 2, kind of just continuous. This movie's kind of the same way for me. Yes, it's not in black and white, but I could just watch it one and then right into two. I just think it works. It works extremely well for me.
It does.
And I love that they were able to recapture that atmosphere.
It does work, this going to color. And they did the transition very nicely to get this into color.
Yeah, because the movie does start in black and white.
They start with black and white. Some of it is old rehash footage, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's not like it's, 45 minutes of old rehash
Yeah.
footage like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't rehash
It's a
the whole
little
movie.
bit, but it helps with the transition
It does. It does help with the
from
transition.
that. Because you got to realize, this is supposed to be 20 years later.
And the way they gradually
Color
bring the color
TV
in,
has been introduced to the public way before Bates got out of prison. So therefore, this works very nicely.
I like the way they gradually bring the color into the shot.
Exactly.
I think that's really cool.
Exactly. That was one of the things I didn't like about Clerks 2. They didn't gradually bring the color into the shot.
No,
It was
but they
just
did gradually leave it out or bring it out.
bring it
at
out,
the
but
end. That's
not
what I
at
love.
the beginning.
At the end, they brought it like it was
But
coming back
not-
to its roots.
Not at the beginning, though.
Right.
It's just one scene and then poof, it's color.
I think it's because they were trying to show that it was a different place, a different area, Different review, though. We'll get into that, because I want to do those movies eventually.
Eventually.
I love Quentin Smith films, so I will review those eventually. I absolutely love the score in this movie. It takes what the first one did, and it just builds upon it so well. I actually like the score in this one even more than I like the score in the first one.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I think because it takes all the best stuff in the first score and just builds on it. And I just
And
think
they
they do
didn't
an
fuck it
absolutely
up.
amazing job. No, they didn't fuck
They
it up
didn't
at all.
fuck it up. there.
They do a great job here.
That's good.
You know.
Next thing I want to talk about with this film is the plot. There are some really vengeful people in this movie. They cannot let it go. They can't. It's been 20 years. He's been in jail for 20 years, and they are trying to fuck Norman's life.
Yeah.
And it is done really well. Like, you go, oh my gosh, this is very interesting of how they're plotting against him and scheming, and
Yeah.
they're just as bad as he is.
They're driving him nuts. They're literally purposely driving him nuts. And I really like that as well. It introduces a new element. And then it
Into
also
horror,
introduces
yeah.
a little bit of a twist because one of the people, spoiler alert, ends up basically kind of really falling in love with him. Like,
Yep.
truly does fall in love with him.
Like, oh my God, he's not
I know.
this evil thing that I've been
like, we're
told.
fucking him up, you know. And then she kind of goes a little nuts over herself, and that whole thing. I loved the performance again by Anthony Perkins, done so well.
Yes.
In this movie, in the first movie, he makes Norman so creepy that you're kind of like scared of him. In this movie, he makes Norman so sympathetic you feel sorry for him.
I think felt sorry for him in the first one too.
I just thought he was creepy.
I thought he was creepy, but I felt sorry for him too.
Yeah, I do. I feel like this one even more for me. You feel so much sorry for him.
Oh yeah,
you know the way people are fucking with him, and he really did try to.
And he's trying.
He was better. He was definitely better, and he was trying to get his life back on track. And then they come in and just start fucking it up, and then we find out that there's a third party. There's Norman. There's the people trying to fuck him up. And then there's another person who's got their own agenda, and that's fucking him up too. So. It's, all over the place with that, but I don't mean all over the places and it's a mess. I mean, it's all over the places and it covers a lot of ground.
Yes.
And I really do enjoy that. And there's something I want to ask, and this is kind of like my final thought on the movie. But what else? Okay. So before I get to that, what else? Do you got anything else?
Not really. Just the acting is very well. He's already touched on the acting. I don't think I dislike anybody in this film as far as acting goes. Mm-hmm. I think everybody did a great fucking job on this film. I don't get why some people don't like this movie, especially the guys that made it. Why they don't.
Yeah, it was just some of the people, but whatever.
It's a good movie.
My final question is for the audience, for you guys, and also for you, Bill.
Okay.
Now, one of the criticisms of this film back in the day was that it was much more graphic and violent than the original. There was more blood on camera. There was more things happen on camera. But I kind of feel like because of the times it was in, it's no longer the 60s. We're talking about the 1980s now.
Yes.
That the movie kind of progressed with the quote-unquote brutality or violence with the way the decade did. That was kind of the theme of the decade. More blood, more everything. What do you think? Do you think that it was too brutal? Do you think that it should have held the, kind of like, stylized violence that the original had? Or is it perfect for I like it. I think it's good. What do you think?
What I think is you got to remember also technology has progressed. Back when Hitchcock did his original film, technology wasn't there to make things look believable. Mm-hmm. And then once technology progresses, and you see that in movies all the time. You see that in the film industry and television all the time. Once technology progresses, the envelope gets pushed more and more and more with the violence and gore.
So do you think if Hitchcock was alive today making movies, he'd be more of a gorehound? Or would he still say keep the subtlety?
I think he would. I think he'd actually be a bit of both. Yeah. I think he would be a lot more subtle. But I bet you he'd love to have the gore in there. I bet you he would.
Well, guys, I would like to hear what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. And we will see you next time with Psycho 3. This is BroncoJuggalo saying peace.
And Bill saying good night.
Talking about mob shit. Got couple $100 grand, I ain't much. Mob shit. One phone call, you can get touched. Mob shit. Jimmy gave Tommy a to-do list. Mob shit. Good fellas always got a full clip. Mob shit. Keep the family biz on the